Hello. Right, I've got a question for Shaman Guy. Shaman Guy. Shaman Guy. I think because you're such a, because you're the most bullish dude out there, and you go around with a hunting rifle and bear traps, seeking out any bearish comments, any bearish potential sentiment to fucking shoot, trap, and then skin them and use their furry bear skins as your fireside rug or a hat or a coat or something. I don't know what you do with them, but I don't know what you do with your bears. But yeah, okay, I've got a question. So my question is, okay, it's all about this pattern here. So as he said, drawing a little thing out here, and is that a bull flag? Is this a bull flag? Pole, resistance, support. Is that a bull flag? Or is it a rising? Is it some sort of broadening wedge vaguely with those ever so slightly high there? High at the 69k. And what was that? Was that 64k? I don't know. And then what? Now, is that a bull flag? Is that a continuation flag? Or is it a broadening wedge? I don't know. I really can't tell. And there's even a great idea. Now, I've been looking at this in slightly different exchanges. And is that just the world's biggest? Would that be a pennant? Is that the world's biggest pennant? When do pennants occur? Do pennants occur? Do pennants occur only in the little trends, or is a pennant a great big pattern indicator? Okay, so the great big trend, and do pennants and bull flags occur when there's a great big trend? Because there's that descending triangle, and a descending triangle does clearly occur in big trends. Or is it what goes on, the little trends, those, rather than months and years of movement forming a pattern? And what, because I've only associated most patterns with what occurs in these sort of lower kind of time frames, those lower trends lasting weeks, days, maybe hours. And that is my experience, is more, although I'm a noob, my experience is on these sort of lower time frames. So that is the main question there for Shaving Guide. I'm going to prattle off somewhere else and discover. I want to know what's going on in the world. Right, thanks for listening. If you did listen there, Shaving Guy. Right, where are we? So, yeah, what have you got? What am I doing here? I've got fear, uncertainty, and doubt because I can't quite identify these patterns. I'm not sure of these patterns. Is it a bull flag? Is it a rising wedge? Is it a sort of ascending triangle? Is it a pennant? What happens when bull pennant? Is that a bull pennant? Do pennants rise up as a continuation pattern? More likely to do that? Bull flags are a continuation pattern set to go up. Broadening wedges come down as a rule of thumb. So there is my questions. But look, are pennants? That's the big question. Because if a pennant is a sort of more after a nice sort of rising up phase there, a big uprising phase there, creating a flagpole, is a pennant a bearish or a downside? Am I expecting a downside? Is it a bearish type of pattern? If so, it's kind of even Stevens because you've got this sort of triangle. Was it a rising wedge or an ascending triangle? If it's an ascending triangle, that's bullish. If it's a bullish flag, that's bullish. If it's if a pennant is sort of or a rising wedge, it tends to be a bit of a bearish signal. So that's one, and then if it's a broadening wedge, then that's two. So it's absolutely even Stevens on what the patterns are there, as is the current market sentiment, just belting in there. So going into that sort of weekly. Let's do the weekly there, or even the daily chart. So on that daily chart, you've got on the weekly chart showing a symmetrical triangle. That seems quite symmetrical to me. After that W bottom's forming a symmetrical triangle, which is a neutral type of indicator, and that will reflect if the shaman guy is listening, perhaps he's there, he's available, and perhaps one of his bear his bear prey are in there, just keeping things neutral. Lots of bears, lots of shaman guys in there. Sorry, mate, I'm just having a bant. Uh, and then, they can break low, they can break high. But in the overall trend, want to see that come up and test that resistance level again, and maybe retrace, come up again for a nice steady rise and a breakout would be good. Breakout upside would be great, wouldn't it? Everybody wants a breakout to the upside. And so what else we're thinking of? Another question, big question. What patterns are associated with phases of accumulation and phases of distribution? So if we got there, this has been coming up, as we know. Bitcoin's been coming up, up. And with these phases of accumulation, waiting to get up there again, what patterns, if any, are associated with phases of accumulation? Equally, phases of distribution, because that has come up high and high and high. And if it's a patterns for phases of distribution which precede a down phase, okay, do those phases of distribution and accumulation have associated patterns specific to accumulation and distribution exclusively? Okay, now that is another question. I don't have any answers. I'm a noob guy, but the answers are out there, maybe on the internet, and with experience as well. Nothing beats experience. Not overconfident, cock it all, fucking I know it all experience, but experience of actually even-handedly checking out what is going on. Okay, now that is the main thing. I've had your questions. Bull flag question: is it a bear? What is going on with these patterns? And also, what associated with those patterns? What patterns are associated with phases of accumulation and phases of distribution? Really want to know that, because it just helps, doesn't it? All right, it helps a lot. Right, have a lovely weekend. The sun's shining, and don't go trapping no bears, mate. Don't be trapping the bears. All right, there. Take care, dude. Take care, everybody. Take care. Thanks for listening to the waffle. Waffly noob guy. That's a Twitter handle. Well, how do we switch this thing off? Right, switch this thing off.